Hello everyone, this is David Lopez, and this is my grading and assessment research project and presentation. And for my project, I chose to research program improvement, also known as PI in the education field. And those of us in the education field know that there are a lot of acronyms and symbols used. Therefore, PI will represent program improvement throughout my presentation. Now beginning. What is program improvement? Well, program improvement is for all Title I funded schools and local educational agencies known as LEAs that do not make adequate yearly progress, which are identified under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. And those who are identified may receive program improvement. The ESEA requires that all states implement statewide accountability systems based on challenging state standards in reading and mathematics, for example. Annual testing for all students in grades 3 through 8, and annual statewide progress objectives ensuring that all groups of students reach proficiency within their 12 years of schooling. This basically boils down to ensuring statewide accountability in education. This comes from the California Department of Education's website, which is an amazing website and deals with all of this in much further detail than what I'm going to be going through. But this is a great place to start. What is program improvement? So I asked myself also, okay, so now I know what program improvement is, but what is a Title I funded school? So I came up with the research that Title I of the ESEA provides financial assistance to LEAs and schools with high numbers or high percentages of children from low-income families. And this just again is ensuring that all children meet challenging state academic standards. Title I is federally funded, and in the school year of 2009 to 2010, more than 56,000 public schools nationwide received Title I funds. So as you can see, this is quite a bit. Quite a large amount of schools. There's a lot of students who have benefited from Title I funding. So how is PI determined? Well, as you can see from my picture here, it can simply be boiled down to as a thumbs up or a thumbs down. To receive a thumbs up, you have to meet your AYP requirements. So simply, to get the thumbs down, which means that you are determined and deemed PI necessary, meaning that your Title I school does not meet their AYP in the same content area for 2 years in a row. For example, English Language Arts or math. So if you don't meet your AYP for 2 years in a row, you will be determined needing the assistance of PI. Also, Academic Performance Index, which we know as API, those scores or high school graduation rates can also be used to determine if a school or LEA needs program improvement. PI requirements. So under No Child Left Behind, schools and LEAs are responsible for implementing certain federal and state requirements during each year that they are in PI. And these vary based on the PI year and whether the entity is a school or LEA. But the first 2 years are extremely important, and that's why I've documented them here in my presentation. The first year, there's 3 things that the school or LEA will be accountable for and required to accomplish. First things first, they must implement a single plan for student achievement, known as the SPSA. Second, they must give students the option to transfer schools. So when a school finds out that they are going to be deemed needing program improvement, then a letter must go home within, I believe, a few months, or maybe just 1 month, 30 day to a few months. Letter goes home to the parents, giving the parents an option to transfer their students to another public school who is not in need of program improvement. So if their student is going to transfer, they can transfer from a school that's needing PI, but they must transfer to a school that does not need PI. And third, there must be a fiscal set aside. So this is money set aside. 20% goes for transportation costs for these students who are deciding to transfer from one school to another. And then 10% is set aside for professional development and staff development. We'll look at this a little more in depth as the presentation goes on, but let's just keep in mind these three things that need to be accomplished within the first year. And in the second year, well, the public school choice transfer is also allowed. Okay, so students will also, so if they stuck around for the first year, they're still given an opportunity to transfer the second year. Then, secondly, supplemental educational services, which is known as SES, must be put into place, and we'll go over that in a little further detail. And there must be another fiscal set aside. So again, 20% for transportation costs and 10% for professional development. But looking at supplemental educational services, I'd like to touch base on that just a little further in detail right now. These certain things such as tutoring, remediation or remedial courses, small classes, and outside regular school day stuff. So all these must be made possible for the students to receive outside of the regular school day. So the tutoring outside of school, remedial courses, or small class sizes must be made regular for the students outside of school. Okay, so these are some of the educational services that must be put in order for students to have success. Now, all of these things must be aligned with California state content standards and also aligned with the district curriculum, whichever the curriculum may be for individual districts. But these supplemental educational services must be in place for the second year of PI. Here's a timeline of requirements that I found off the Department of Education's website. And as you can see here, in the first year, schools must revise the school plan within 3 months. They must use 10% of the Title I school funds for staff professional development, and they must implement the plan promptly. Then for the second year, schools must continue to implement the plan and provide professional development. Now for the third year, schools must continue to provide professional development, but they must also collaborate with districts to improve student achievement. And if a school has still not met their AYP after 2 or 3 years, in the fourth year, they must continue to provide professional development. So as you can see, this is huge. This is a major focus on educational staff, such as teachers and administration, to continue their development. And then you might not be able to see the bottom of this here, but still, the school must collaborate with the district to improve student achievement. Excuse me. Okay. So this is just a timeline of things, as you can see. So if a school does not meet their AYP after the first year, then they will be eligible again for the second year. If they're not eligible again, or they don't meet their AYP in the second year, then they'll be needing program improvement for the third year, fourth year, and so on. One other key thing to note is right here, the local educational agencies must provide technical assistance. Okay, and this is another point towards educational staff. This is stuff for more stuff for teachers. Right, so as you can see that teachers here, I don't want to say are being blamed for a school needing program improvement, but a lot of the focus is on the staff. Comprehensive assessment tools. So there's some assessment tools that are needed to help determine if a school or LEA needs program improvement. And these are a couple of different tools that are used. There's statewide assessments, such as STAR, as we saw in Stephen's research presentation. There's CAPA, CELT, and the CASE. Also, principal walkthroughs. If a principal walks through a school and sees that there's improvement needed, that can be one tool that is used. Parent and student forums, also conversations with the staff. So I like my picture here. It starts with assessment, then you plan, then there's hopefully improvement, and then you reassess. There's also California Department of Education developed assessment tools, such as academic program surveys, district assistance surveys, least restrictive environment self-assessment tools, and English learner subgroup self-assessment tools. So now looking at program improvement objectives, and these are objectives that once a school has been deemed needing program improvement, these are where their main areas of focus. Developing or revising LEA plans in consultation with parents, staff, and others. Addressing fundamental teaching and learning needs. Identifying actions that can result in students' improvement. Incorporating scientifically based research. Including specific and measurable achievement goals. Learning activities before, during, and after school, as was mentioned, part of the SES, and strategies to promote effective parental involvement. And I'd like to just go back and touch on incorporating scientifically based research strategies. These are that are going to be used to strengthen core academic programs. So incorporating these scientifically based strategies that are going to help improve academic programs, core ones such as math, history, science, English, language arts. So who does this affect? Well, it affects all educators, especially those who are tested using standardized testing and STAR, such as math teachers, English teachers, science teachers, and history teachers, because these are the scores that are being looked at. So us in physical education, our scores aren't necessarily looked at, such as our fitness gram scores, if you will. And the big picture here, there must be a comprehensive needs assessment, and that's how schools are going to be seen as needing program improvement. There must be a revision of the LEA and school plans that address needs for the students and the staff. There needs to be a reallocation of money to support the plans and the objectives for the school or the school district. Professional development and support for staff, as we've seen throughout my presentation, the teachers, not a lot of, but money is being spent for their professional development to help ensure that these students are giving an opportunity to succeed. There must be faithful implementation of the revised plans, and the most important, there must be ongoing monitoring, analysis, and support for improvement plans. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. And that is it. Goodbye.